Thanks for tuning in on Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen with comic Sara Dirks. Sara Dirks, how the hell are you?
Hi, I am good.
You are Wild Dirky
I
on
am
Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
That's what everyone, you told me pre-pod that the Dirks were running wild back in the day. There's so many that the nicknames were flying, you said, but nobody
All
was like,
Dirks.
Wild Dirky, ow. But you chose it though. You chose it. Like that's how we know you now.
That's who I am now.
And are you wild? Is your
Um,
comedy wild at least?
it's not actually wild, I guess. Sometimes I have some wild, just random thoughts, I guess.
Okay. I see you on a horse here. That's pretty wild.
I love horses.
Are you a
I did
horse girl?
that. I no. I love horses. I love horses. I've loved them since I was little. But a horse girl to me feels like we're going into the arena of like those people who pretend they're on horses, but they're like broomsticks and stuff like that. I just like to ride horses and I enjoy them. And if I see one, it makes me happy.
Because when I think horse girl, I really am thinking just the most. I almost think something like it's an escape. It's kind of escapist, like somebody's checked out of the world and they can only like appreciate the serene beauty of a horse. It's like, yeah. So you had somebody on who's talking about lizard girl and how they were different from horse girls, because they were talking about like, yeah, that was their favorite pet because like lizards are a little bit mysterious, a little bit standoffish. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. Like horse girl is like the opposite of that. And so, yeah, so tell me, like, we have about 4,000 different topics and we're going to cover all of
Uh-huh.
them because they're all hilarious.
I will
Okay.
say horses I didn't put on there on purpose.
I
And
don't think,
came up
you didn't put
anyways.
you may say it again because yeah, you didn't put it on your list at all. We just found it with your Instagram.
No, I know. And I was like, oh, I do love horses, but if I put it on there, I'm gonna turn into horse girl. And I didn't put it on there, and here we are.
And here we are. I love that. And so the list is just so like I have comedians submit lists of topics so that way every episode is distinct. And there was all just so much fucking funny. Like my niece likes this too. Do you like miniature things and why do you like them?
I love miniature things. I'm not sure why, and I don't really know where it comes from, but I do sometimes go to Michael's and I go to the dollhouse section, and every once in a while I'll let myself pick out one tiny object to buy. I do not have a dollhouse. I just have a, I just have a box, like a tin. And kind of in between my like shelves and decorations, I'll put little, I guess we call them vignettes of tiny little scenes.
Oh,
I don't know.
where do you put those? Where do you make those vignettes and scenes?
I have like a shelf above my fireplace, and then I have it's always just like between framed decorations and like my books, just in little places. So they're kind of like discoverable, except for I live alone
Oh,
and I don't post a lot. So a lot of the discovery is just me over and over again being like, oh, what a cute little scene.
that's adorable. I planted that there 3 months ago, and I finally saw it in this weird corner of my house. Now
Yeah.
that is hilarious. Yeah, I was waiting for like who's going to discover things. You're like, I live alone. Like nobody's going to discover these fucking things, but I am delighted when I see them.
I
And
am.
so, but I guess it kind of you can file it under precious. Like you appreciate the preciosity. I don't think that's a word, but like that's kind of like horses, I suppose. Although horses are large rather than mini. But then I see gas stations. You said I like gas stations. And that is just adorable because like gas stations, I suppose you can have precious little finds. Like I think maybe like you really appreciate the beauty of like everyday items or whatever. Like so what like in a gas station are you talking like I like the rolling hot dogs, I like the little creamers. Like
Oh
what about
God.
gas stations do you like?
Well, if we're going food, I like the free pickle tin thing, the free pickles, but
Are there free pickles?
not everyone has that. But if
Okay.
sometimes if there's a gas station with like, a good food selection, which by good I don't mean quality, I just mean they have a lot, and they will have like a section where there's like free condiments, and sometimes there's pickles, and sometimes I
Uh,
just get pickles.
I'm like, do these places have free pickles? You're like, the better ones do. The ones that
Well,
I go to, the one that Sara Dirks goes to.
this is why. So I am from Iowa. Okay, it's going to be a whole podcast about gas stations. I'm from Iowa. The world's largest truck stop is in Iowa, right on the border of like Iowa, Illinois, and I do not have a car, but if I ever get a ride or the chance, I stop there because it is like one of the world's most interesting places, I think.
But I love that though. You're like, or if I get a ride. So like anybody who picks you up is like, yeah, Sarah, this is gonna be a great ride, great ride. And then you're just trying to steer like the car and attention to the fact that, oh, there's the world's largest gas station. We should stop there.
Oh no,
Like that becomes like your goal. You're like, oh my Lord, I have a car and I'm somewhere near the largest gas station.
it is the largest truck stop is what it's called.
Oh
And
wow.
if I am getting a ride or I have a car, well, if I have a car, I go. And if I get a ride, I'm not like, I don't leave it up to like try to steer anyone there. I say, hey, if we have to get gas, this is where I want to go.
And
It's a
so
best
you
thing.
make you make a beeline for this world's largest truck stop. Why? What is there?
So it's huge, first of all.
There's
Um,
pickles. There's pickles,
there's
I
pickles.
think.
It is like a regular gas station, but huge parking lot because truckers park there overnight and there's like facilities for them. But then also inside of it is like little areas of like I call one part just like regular gas station area with like the fountain pop and the candy and all that. And then there's like it's broken into like almost like Beanie Baby Toyland and then like Native American t-shirts and like artifact things you can buy, like the t-shirts with like the wolves and the moon. And then there's sections that are like, I don't know, in weird and small time inventions. Like one time there were flip-flops that you could grow grass in the bed of them. So you could be walking on the lawn.
That's awesome. And so you
And
find
then
these wonderful things there.
yeah, and then there's just good people watching. And I sometimes do characters and sketch comedy, and it's just a fascinating place to be like, who would buy any of this? And then actually think about who would.
I love that's your brainstorming exercise. This is a bizarre piece of shit. Oh, but there could be hilarity with who buys the fucking thing. Are you a cigarette sandwich or no?
I used to do some stuff. Me and my friend Maddie opened for them a couple times, and then we used to do some sketches with them every once in a while. But I'm not officially a member of it. I just love them.
This is so abrupt. Like we were talking about the most adorable thing in the history of time. The walking and the fucking flip-flops on the bed of the grass.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned sketch, and so I immediately went to cigarette sandwich. But fuck that. I'm gonna go back to your list here because your list is even funnier.
Oh,
Okay. I like to physically write things down. I hate Google calendars. So
yes.
right now, like like do you have okay, is there like a day job? And if there's a day job, is there like like they're like, Sarah, we'd rather you actually email people, and you're like, no, I prefer to write things down
Yeah, I'm
physically.
sending letters. I wish. Yes, my day job, I'm an art director in advertising, and
Oh,
I've been freelancing for the same place for over 2 years now. And I consider I will do online calendars and teams and all that stuff because it's work and I have to.
boo.
And I need to keep my job. So
Can you make a sketch about the other way though, where you insist on sending letters?
yes.
And so that is
And
fucking amazing. So yeah, in your daily life then, okay, well, we'll go to non-work, I suppose.
yeah,
Now, in your daily life, you know, you're staging these little vignettes, these little scenes, and these shelves above your fireplace. And good job on the fireplace, by the way. That's awesome.
thank you.
Like I don't want to say Sara Dirks is rich, but I just heard she's an art director and has a fireplace. I don't know.
No, I got
So,
really, really lucky.
yeah. Okay. Well, no, I mean, you don't have to explain it to me. I was a lawyer back in the day, and now I'm actually paralegal at a big, a giant law firm, and I probably can afford a little vignette myself, and maybe, well, probably not a fireplace, but maybe something to physically write stuff down with. And so, what in your daily life are you physically writing down, and what is suffering as a result? Like this podcast episode, when you jumped on, I was so lucky to get you to jump on the schedule for this. Like,
Yes.
where did you write it down and how?
So well, first of all, I'm also very like organized emailer. I have 1,000 folders in my Gmail. So there's that. But
Okay.
for like my personal life and shows and activities, I have, and any of my friends or anyone listening to this is probably going to be laughing at me. I have a marker board calendar, and that is my go-to for every activity. And every month I sit on my floor with all of my colored markers and I erase it and I write out the next month. And then it changes constantly and it's kind of an issue. But
Hold on, hold on. Is this a whiteboard that you then draw a calendar on?
no, it's a whiteboard that has like it is a calendar.
Oh my Lord, where did you buy that? Was it at Michael's? How much did it cost? Do you have a miniature
I
version? Do you have
have
a miniature version?
no, oh my God.
You're like, oh my
Well,
God, I must just
I
die.
I do have two smaller whiteboards for my to-do list. We're really diving in. So here are some things that I guess maybe are unique or embarrassing about this.
Okay.
One, the calendar, I don't remember where I got it. I've had it forever, but my calendar starts on Monday. So the first square is Monday, not Sunday,
Okay.
which
I think I'm fine with that.
okay, but it throws me and a lot of people off because when I'm
Uh,
trying to actually like compare it to a different calendar, if I'm looking at like a schedule for my improv team and I'm looking at where the squares line up, they don't line up, and sometimes I have
uh,
problems.
and so
Um,
there's actually, so most calendars start with Sunday?
yes, I think technically
Ah,
Sunday is the first day of the week, but I consider it the end because it's the last day of the weekend. So that's how
yeah,
my brain does it.
yeah.
The other embarrassing thing about it is because this is where I write everything, I just hate having 1,000 pop-up dingy notifications on my phone.
Oh.
So I take a photo of my calendar on my wall after I do it. And then whenever I'm anywhere, which I feel like is all the time, and someone's asking me about a show or a date, I have to pull up my, I
The
have
picture.
an album in my phone called calendars, and I pull up the latest photo of my whiteboard and I have to zoom in and look through it. And that's how I schedule my life.
That is amazing. And you said it always changes though. So what's the point of doing it?
I don't know. I think I don't know anymore.
It's like
Um,
I have OCD, and not that you do, but meaning it's probably the delusion of control. It's like, okay, I did my OCD rituals. Like this thing is not going to, this water, in my case, it's like checking things, like checking the
uh,
water's off, checking the door is locked. All right. Well, at the very least, I got that under control. The faucet's not going to overflow, even though it never has in my life. It's not going to overflow when I leave the apartment. Like I got that under control. I got that on lock. Like, is there any of that? Because I mean, I think your calendar is probably useful at least for the first week. And once you change it, you just have to do minor tweaks and then it's useful all month long. But
yeah.
yeah, let me know, like, why'd you start doing that? Like, where'd you buy that fucking calendar? And just like, it constantly changing. Like, is it just when things change, or are you always trying to get it to be a better calendar?
Oh, it's always changing just because I will, like I add on as a month goes by, I add on more shows and more activities. So then I'm trying to squeeze them into my calendar and then I have to take a new photo, which is really stupid.
That is
How it
amazing.
started, I don't know other than, I mean, I'm creative in general. I did a lot of like doodling and drawing my whole life. And I think I like having collections of like markers and colors and stuff like that.
Oh, this
So
is
it's like,
wonderful. And like, do you do this at like, I mean, I suppose like whiteboards and things like that are fairly common in creative disciplines, and you're an art director. So I would think that some of this is also at work. Although, as you said, you guys have real digital calendars.
yeah. And I don't go to an office anymore. I'm home all the
Oh,
time.
do you miss that? The opportunity to whiteboard with your fellow creatives?
Um, no, the only time I miss it is when I would be sent off to brainstorm in this like one room with a huge marker board and it's just me and like two of my fun coworkers. This is at a previous job. So we could just like fuck around and
Yeah,
draw.
it's fun, right? Like there's like whiteboards at WeWork, and it's like the minute I get into one, I'm really tempted to use it. Like, if you're doing anything that, because I also learn things that are a little bit more like, I need things kind of like drawn out because like
Yeah.
I'm a little dumb. Like, like meaning like my LSAT score to, for law school, it's all kind of dependent on like logic games and stuff. And so I'm very I communicate well, I'm a good listener, I'm smart enough, but there's always a smarter lawyer right next to me who gets it one
Well,
second quicker. And so I need these things diagrammed out.
like visual
Yeah.
learner, which
And
I think
is there any of that? Like in
uh
like you having the calendar up? Because like me, I don't really have a calendar, Sarah.
oh,
And so like
well,
at what point
oh
did
my
it,
God.
these things get so important that you needed, like, so what age were you when you bought this first fucking calendar with this
Oh,
whiteboard with a calendar on it?
I probably had this for, I mean, I mean, I probably had it for, I don't know, like 9 years. I don't know. I've had it for a while. I like it because it starts on Monday and it's the only one I can find that does that. Trust me, if I could have a wall that was a marker board, that's what I would have.
Oh, that is adorable.
I don't
How big is this thing? How
It's
big is
like
it?
maybe like 20 inches. I'm like staring at it right now. 20 inches by, I don't know, 17. It's not huge.
That's small. Like this whole
Yeah.
time I was thinking it was a big one on the wall.
I mean,
How
it's
can you
also,
write shit with markers on something that small for a whole year, for a whole month?
you are you're hitting all the things because I've been looking
Yes.
for, I have fine tip markers, but I cannot find a fine enough tip. And I can't find anything smaller than I have. And I'm constantly going through buying new markers.
And you're a miniatures expert.
I
You would think if
know.
somebody could find the fine print,
Well,
it's you.
the one time I bought mini markers, they were mini as in
Oh,
short, as in not tall, but the
and running
markers
out very
were still
quickly.
fat and awful. But I will say, I think it also comes from, I remember things way better if I write it down. So
Yeah.
I remember dates in my head if I physically remember like the writing it down versus I'm just so sick of clicking buttons online. That's what I do all day long
Yeah.
for my job.
Well, you're like Mike Seaver. Do you remember Growing Pains?
Yes.
He wanted to cheat. And so what did he do? He wrote the answers on a shoe. And I tried to throw that into a sketch, and the comedian changed it because I think it's ridiculous. Like, how the fuck would you see your answers if they're on the bottom of your shoe? So that was the joke he turned it into. But the joke was Mike Seaver, he learned so much writing it down that he didn't even need to look at his shoe. So he's telling to his dad, he's like, yes, Dad, I got in trouble for having this on my shoe, but I didn't use it, Dad. I did not use it. It's one of these sitcoms that's very soapy at the end or
Yes.
saccharine at the end. He was like, I didn't use it, Dad. And so why did I bring up Mike Seaver? Oh, because he learned stuff by writing it down. And so
Yeah.
I think I'm the same way, but just like, can't you just get a whiteboard and then draw the calendar on there?
I could, but
Then it could be big and you live alone and you have all these miniatures. And if like you had a whole wall, like you said, that's the dream, right? Have a whole wall.
I gotta tell you, I have, and doesn't make, okay, I live in a studio, but it's lofted, so it is cute and it's unique. 2 of the walls are fully brick. So I don't have, and since it's one big room, I don't have like a ton of wall. I mean, I have wall space. It's really high. Like most of the wall space is in the air and I can't get to it.
No, you got to put it on the ground. Like
But
I have a dream. I have a dream, Sarah Dirks.
Okay.
When I go see Wild Dirk,
My life.
when I go see Wild Dirkie in Chicago, my dream is against the wall to see a whiteboard leaning against that wall and having the calendar drawn on there. Because like this whole time I was imagining it huge.
Again, dream. See, just drop my Venmo in there also, and then I will get a full wall calendar. And what I would like is to put it up high, but then get a library ladder.
Oh,
Sarah
Dirks, I'm now
I would never or leave my apartment.
Yeah, you are now hitting my buttons too. Like I've so fully entered your world of miniatures, gas stations, and calendars that like now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited as a Sara Dirks acolyte that these things are just like, wow. Oh, I love that. See, that's how I know that you're funny. Okay, because you gave me a list of topics, all of which can be a font for comedy. And so tell me like your comedy product, what are you churning out and what's the process for it? And does it start with a cool detailed list like this?
Whoa, product. My comedy product. Okay, like process.
Well, just like are you doing sketch shows? Are you churning out video? Are you writing? What are you doing? Because I know you have huge amounts of followers. And so they're obviously following you for some reason.
I think they're following me for my wonderful Instagram stories, which is me having every thought that goes through my head and no one to tell it to and putting it on Instagram and then being like, oh my God, say less.
No, because I mean, you have such interesting things though. Like why? I know, like it's like the entirety of Instagram is like, yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear about your calendar. I want to hear about your miniatures. I want to hear about your gas station. But like, why do you not have 4,000 people following you around with a camera right
now? Because there's not enough space in my apartment, which is where I mostly am.
Boo. Like meaning like that is just so like why is there not like why isn't your troupe like sitting on your every word? You know, why if you do sketch, like why are your sketch team? Because you told me you have improv practice, right? Like why are people not like taking notes of your greatness?
Maybe they are and they're not telling me.
Oh yes, maybe they're doing it on whiteboard.
which would be,
Oh.
oh my God.
So yeah, tell me about the improv troupe and how often do you perform? Where do you perform? Are you at Annoyance or Bug House? These are some of the Chicago names I've heard.
So okay, I do sketch and improv and stand up. I'm currently mostly doing stand up, but started with improv and then sketch. I just made an IO house team, and
Congrats.
thank you. We have
What
our
is the
first.
house team? What's it called?
Huh?
What's it called?
We don't have a name yet. So tonight's our first
Ah,
show, and we are planning on naming it tonight after the show.
I got it. Miniature wall calendars at the gas station.
Well, if it was up to me, I have 1,000 ideas, but
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately, there's just a lot of opinions. So we will find out what the name is later.
Yes.
And that's at IO. I mean, with stand up, like obviously I do stuff at Annoyance and Bug. I do stuff literally everywhere, and then a bazillion bars and just random venues.
Yes. Well, you got to go to Derek J's show. I had him on earlier, and he said he does laughs in Lakeview, and he said it's what an open mic that's been running for 5 years, and you might be beyond open mics, but me and Derek J discussed that nobody's ever beyond open mics, and he said it's cool because there's like there's not only real people in the audience, but it's a good mix of races, and so if your stuff works there,
Is
you
that
can
the one
kind
at
of
Shakers? I know laughs. There's a
yeah.
laugh.
What would
uh,
you just say? What's it called?
Shakers.
Yeah, Shakers on Clark or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I share a parking lot with Shakers.
Oh no, is this too
Yeah.
close to home for you? Do you not play there?
Oh no, no. I actually I love Shakers so much. And we were worried for a while it was not coming back after the pandemic, and it did. But I have not been to, I think I've been to that show way before the pandemic. I have not been to it after, and I need to. It's literally that I live also right by the Annoyance. So those are the closest venues to me.
And
Um,
he said they ring bells. Like
yes,
like
oh
the
yes,
audience can ring a bell if they think a comedian's bit is stupid and should move on.
I've heard of this, and I need to witness it.
Yes, that's
I need to
hilarious.
witness it
But
because
I
that
yeah,
makes me nervous.
you're just like, I'm here talking about calendars and gas stations. Don't ring me off.
I don't
That's
have
just
time to
hilarious.
go to the open mic literally in my backyard. I've got to organize my mini vignettes.
Yes, finer words have never been spoken. We've loved having Sara Dirks on. If you want to see her online, it's Twitter and Instagram, Wild Durkey. And even though nobody's ever called her that,
Uh-huh.
like she's Wild Durkey forever. And it's so funny. I'm just like, okay, so is your house team name going to be mini calendars with at gas stations? And you're like, no, dude, like, that was 3 seconds ago. Like I've just thought of 14 hilarious things since then. Sara Dirks, thank you so much for coming on.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.